Bill and her friends are looking for a new place to live, but it's not easy. Wherever they look, they can't seem to find the right property, until an old man comes up to them on the street and offers them his mansion to live in at a cheap rent as long as they agree not to go into the tower. He shows them the property and they're bowled over. The rooms are huge, it's perfect. Bill hires the doctor to help her move all of her stuff, although she's only got a few boxes, which does surprise the doctor, to the new mansion. He can't believe that she's actually staying in such a huge place at such a cheap rent and wants to know what the catch is. She tells him that staying in an old house with an old weird landlord is pretty much status quo for a student these days. He goes through Bill's playlist on her phone and has a bit of a laugh about that with her friends before the landlord turns up again, asking if there's anything that he can do to help them. They complain that the electricity is a little bit out of date and needs updating. They don't seem to have any service inside the house for their telephones, the washing machine and such like. The doctor questions the man but doesn't get very far before he decides to leave the house and tells them he'll be back in the morning. But as they run to the front door to question him again, they open it to find that he seems to have vanished. The noises in the house get louder as the night draws in, and one by one Bill's friends start to vanish. The doctor is in the main living room when suddenly all the shutters slam shut and the front door is sealed. There's no way out. The house has locked them all inside. Choosing to experiment on the woodwork to find out what exactly is going on, the doctor suddenly seems to realise that the house is alive, and these small termite things suddenly start appearing out of the woodwork that he calls dryads, for want of a better name. Split up from Bill, the doctor searches through the house trying to get to the tower to find out what's going on. Up in the tower, Bill comes across Eliza, a wooden woman who says she's been living up there for decades and hardly ever gets to see any visitors. Suddenly the doctor arrives, as does the landlord, and a confrontation ensues. It's assumed that the landlord is Eliza's father, but the doctor has second thoughts. As the dryads appear supposedly at the landlord's command to kill Bill and the doctor suddenly realizes that it's actually the other way around. Eliza is actually the landlord's mother. When he was a young boy and Eliza was dying on her deathbed, the boy found out in their garden seed pods containing the dryads and brought them to his mother's bedroom. And when he came back the next morning, he found his mother had been turned into the wooden woman we see before him now. Eliza, suddenly remembering everything, realizes that her son has been killing people every 20 years to keep her alive and can't live with it. Thanking the doctor, she hugs her son one last time before she commands the dryads to kill them both. Losing their reason for being alive, the dryads start to die and the house starts to fall apart around them as the doctor and Bill run from the room, finding along the way all of Bill's friends who had supposedly died suddenly reappearing. The doctor grabs them, propels them from the house as it collapses behind them. Back at the university, the doctor goes down to the cellar where the vault is still locked up and finds Nardole on watch. He's brought Chinese food, but Nardole says he's not very hungry. The doctor says, well, he is, and he'll take over the watch. As Nardole leaves, you can hear a piano playing on the other side of the vault doors. The doctor knocks on the doors, says he's brought Chinese food, and has a story to tell the person on the other side. The piano stops, and the doctor says it's about kids being eaten, at which point the piano starts up again, gaily playing a tune. The doctor smiles, opens the doors, and enters. Okay, so we're up to episode 4 now of this 10th season, and things are starting to get a little bit better. Again, this is another episode similar as last week's Thin Ice. Had a little bit more meat to it. It's a little bit more Doctor Who-y. And unfortunately, again, in some regards, it's too Doctor Who-y. It's a story we have seen done to death. I seem to start every review for a Doctor Who episode for this season with the same words. It's a story we've seen done to death. Doctor Who has done haunted houses in just about every shape or form it can possibly be done. Either in the old series or in the new ones. Houses eating people, houses incorporating aliens that eat people. It's all been done before. Now, that's not to say that this episode wasn't done well. It was. Were there some issues in the script? Yes. Bill, I feel this episode perhaps was the best for Bill so far. It gave her a little bit of backstory. You know, she's got some friends now. She's got a group of friends trying to find somewhere to stay as a student. She doesn't act so ditzy in this one, to a degree. Still there a little bit, but she's starting to actually seem to have some intelligence now. And she's starting to feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more fuller, to me at least. Now, this episode they starred David Suchet as the landlord, who might be known to most people as Inspector Poirot from those TV shows. So, an amazing actor. So that was good. That added some gravitas, some much needed weight, other than Peter Capaldi, who always brings his A game. But this episode was good. I enjoyed it. It was okay. I mean, it was a little bit sort of, you could sort of see where it was going. I mean, the twist at the end where the wooden woman was actually his mother and not his daughter. Okay, fair enough. I didn't see that coming, but fine. The only real big downside for me on this was the dryads. You know, those little insects. It wasn't explained where they came from. The Doctor has never seen them before, so he's assuming they're alien. He actually admits he's never seen them before. That's why he's calling them dryads, because he doesn't know what else to call them. So these things were found in this garden by this boy, and they, for some reason, turned his dying mother into wood. For some reason. Somehow the boy finds out that if they then infect his house, and the boy then finds out somehow that if people come to the house, they will eat them and give his mother energy somehow. And he finds out he has to do it every 20 years and 6 people. Well, I'm not entirely sure why they focused on that. You saw those tenancy agreements that the Doctor and Bill's friend found in the attic, and it's 6 people every 20 years. How did he find that out? Every 20 years? I mean, the guy was in his 70s, maybe, you know. So, okay, so let's say they found 3 tenancy agreements. So that's 60 years. So that's pretty much the length of time that he would have been doing this. How did he find out that it's every 20 years? And how did he find out that it has to be 6 people? Did the dryads communicate this to him somehow, these termites? It was never explained. And at the end, where Eliza kills herself and her son, why did the dryads suddenly start dying? We assume that's what's happening to them. The house starts decaying and falling apart, so we assume the dryads are dying because they're no longer in the house. So if they're dying, why do they die? Why do they die suddenly? Why don't they just go and find another host or something like that? And why does them dying bring back all of Bill's friends? Because when we saw Bill's friends die, they disintegrated. They became nothing. The creatures looked like they were eating them. So there was nothing there to bring back. And yet suddenly Bill's friends have come back. Okay, so if Bill's friends have come back, what about the other 12 people? Why can't they come back? Because they must be in the house as well somewhere, right? But then the house ate them and gave all of their energy to Eliza. So there's nothing really to come back because their energy has already been taken out. And you see what I mean? It's just a huge plot hole at the end of the episode. It wasn't wrapped up at all well. And up until that point, it was pretty good. You know, a nice haunted house feeling, then disappearing one by one. The house is alive. The Doctor doesn't know what's going on. You can tell at some points he seems to be as scared as the people around him, especially once he's sealed inside. So that was cool, and I like seeing that aspect of the Doctor. The Doctor doesn't know what's going on, so he's starting to feel a bit, whoa, you know, what's going on here? This is scary. One other thing, why wasn't Bill taken? Okay, there's Bill, 5 of her friends, and the Doctor, all in her house. All in this house. Now, the house doesn't know who these people are. All the house knows, these creatures know, there's these life forms they need to get the energy out. They need to eat to get the energy out of to give to Eliza. So why didn't the house take Bill? She was as easily edible as any of her other friends, and yet they kept ignoring Bill and went for her friends instead. Now, I'm assuming that was a plot device because for some reason the person who wrote this script didn't want Bill to be taken, even though he or she knew that the people who got eaten would be coming back at the end. So it would have been a hell of a lot better episode if the Doctor sees Bill taken, and then he doesn't know he doesn't know that if she's coming back at the end or not. That would have been a hell of a lot better, much more drama involved there. But again, Bill is safe because she's with the Doctor and she's a companion, so, you know, fantastic, nothing bad's going to happen to her. Missed opportunity there. So, other than the ending, I like this episode. So, I'm going to give this episode a 7.5 out of 10. Slightly better than last week's finale, certainly better than Smile and the pilot. Next week's, I've seen the preview obviously, and I'm a little bit, zombies in space? David Tennant did that at least 3 times in his term as the Doctor, zombies in space, stuck on a space station. So, God, I hope it's not that, but the preview certainly makes it look that way. So anyway, cross our fingers and hope it's actually something slightly different with a better twist to it. Otherwise, I'll be right back here again starting this review by saying it's an old and done to death storyline. God, I pray that's not the case. Please surprise me, Doctor Who. Anyway, thank you for listening to this review. See you guys next week. Please, if you like this review, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or share on your Facebook. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.